So, welcome to the meditation class this afternoon. And I don't think there's an introduction to meditation yet, is there? Because I always hear Ajahn Brahm at this stage, he says, and if you're here for the introduction to meditation, it is in the next room, but I don't think there is today. So just to introduce myself, for those who don't know me. I am Ajahn Nissarano, and I'm a monk who ordained with Ajahn Brahm now 24 years ago. That's my full ordination. 25 years ago I became a samanera, a novice monk, here in this place, in this building actually, and came to the monastery 26 years ago to become an anagarika. And so many of you will know me. Actually, I know most of the older people because I went missing for almost 14 years, not quite missing really. I lived in Sri Lanka for almost 14 years. And 8 of those years, I was living in a cave on my own in Sri Lanka, and that was just a wonderful experience. But now I am back in Australia, and most of the time I'm in Victoria. And now I am the current resident senior monk at Newbury Buddhist Monastery. Have you heard of Newbury Buddhist Monastery? It's the one that Ajahn Brahm has been fundraising for, supporting wholeheartedly, and it's taking off. Only last week we had the groundbreaking ceremony, so they've actually got underway, so everybody's very excited. And this afternoon I was at a meeting for the update on the progress of the retreat centre at Newbury Buddhist Monastery, so it's great. So this afternoon, it's always lovely to have this opportunity to meditate together, isn't it? I find it so supportive. It's interesting, isn't it? I think we are, people probably don't like the idea, herd animals. We tend to get this energy when we come together. And this can be very supportive for the meditation, and hence the arising of meditation centres. I think they first came into existence in Myanmar, I have actually heard the people refer to the Buddha's monasteries like the Jetavana as the Jetavana Meditation Centre, which is a bit of an unusual idea. But yes, the meditation centre is a place where the energy accumulates, and it can support each of us in going deeper, becoming more peaceful. So it's a very useful thing to come together like this. And as always, I like to have a theme for meditation. I use this in my meditation, and it's very, very useful for our meditation because it gives extra support to it. And the theme for today is one that we're all familiar with, caring. And everybody cares or has cared for someone or something. It's such a familiar emotion to us, and it's such a positive emotion that we can get in touch with. And this aspect of caring, when it's coming from the heart, of course is valuing. We care for that which we value. And many people, some of you here maybe, are caregivers. Any caregivers here? Caregivers, parents qualify as caregivers, don't they really? They are caring for their children. And we may be caring for our parents or other. Sometimes we are in a more like a nursing sort of capacity. We're caring for someone who's sick. And also in relationships too, there has to be a degree of caring, isn't there? That real caring from the heart. Otherwise the relationship will founder, because the care is something that's so intrinsic to relationships. If we don't care for a person, if we haven't got that sense of valuing them, the relationship's probably not going to last. And one of the things that's a really good example of caring in a sense, is people don't think of it in this way, is our hobbies. we really care about our hobbies. People are passionate about their hobbies. I know one of the women that comes to the monastery, her husband is passionate about rebuilding Harley Davidsons, and I think he can spend hours at it. And you know yourself from your own hobbies, other people's hobbies, how people can really just get so immersed in their hobby. And I think it's actually a form of, we call it samadhi, one-pointedness, where the mind comes together. And it does that because the person so much cares so much for it, is so interested in what they're doing. And this is a very important aspect of meditation too. We don't force the mind. And with a hobby, there is no need to force the mind. We just can spend hours on whatever our hobby is. And so often I say to people that if we can make our meditation our hobby, it won't take any time. We won't have to, in any sense of the word, force ourselves. Don't have to feel like, I have to do this. Do you hear people say that about their hobbies? I've got to do this. But about their meditation, say, I can't find the time. And I never hear people say that about their hobbies. They have to be dragged away from them because they're so keen on them. They have such care for what they're interested in. And the reason that I often emphasize these wholesome emotions is because they're a way of priming the meditation, kick-starting the meditation. Because when we have a wholesome emotion, a positive emotion, it brings gladness and joy to the mind. And when there's gladness and joy in the mind, it colours the mind, and also we can use it to colour the meditation object. What it does, of course, it bumps. I just remembered, please turn off your mobile phones. Lynn asked me to mention that. Just to turn off your mobile phones or turn them on to silent. Turn them on to silent. I often have mine on silent, which is why people never get through to me. But I can get through to them if I have to, yeah. So it colours the mind and it colours the meditation object, and it bumps and replaces negative qualities. And of course these negative qualities, I think most meditators, we're familiar with them, aren't we? We know them. In Buddhism we have the 5 hindrances we talk about, but we all have our own familiar hindrance. And it will fit roughly into these 5 hindrances of sensual desire, sensory desire. This is desire for anything in the 5 sense world, what we see, hear, smell, taste and touch. And if you think about it, there's not much that we think about that isn't concerned with those 5 senses. It's interesting. All our interests are usually related to those 5 senses. So that's sensory desire. There's also ill will when we're irritated, angry, annoyed, sometimes with ourselves. And then also drowsiness and dullness. Now this is one that meditators usually can relate to. But I always feel, when I hear the gentle sound of snoring from the back of the room, I say, well, at least they're relaxed. They're not tense, they're not stressed out. And also the hindrance of restlessness and worry. Restlessness we're very familiar with, I think, because it's this quality of the mind looking for happiness somewhere, but everywhere is not where it is not good enough, and it just keeps moving and moving. And of course the internet really encourages that, this restlessness of mind. I see people flicking through screen after screen, and I think, wow, they're searching for something to satisfy them. And of course, worry, of course, is about what we've done and said. we go over it and we think about it. I should have said that. I did say that and I shouldn't have. All that sort of thing. And the last one, of course, is doubt. And that can be doubt about anything, really, the meditation, how to do the meditation, whether it's working or not. And often the most debilitating doubt is about ourselves, whether we can do it or not. So this doubt is something that really disables the meditation as well. So these 5 hindrances are bumped or displaced when we develop a wholesome emotion. And this today we'll use caring. And the most important thing about this developing a positive emotion, last night I used the emotion of freedom, the feeling of freedom to use for the guided meditation last night. And we are all familiar with that feeling, just as we are familiar with caring. But the point is, when we bring up this positive or wholesome emotion, it really ignites what the Buddha calls a cause and effect process, an automatic process. It brings that gladness that we experience from a positive emotion, a wholesome emotion, leads to rapture. We call this rapture piti in Pali, which can be experienced in many different ways. Tingling over the body, lifting feeling of the body. It's a very bodily sort of experience, but when it's experienced, it's obviously coming from the mind, because we don't experience it like that normally. And this leads to tranquility of the body and the mind. This is when we maybe are no longer aware of the body. The body starts to disappear, and it no longer impinges on us, the sense of discomfort that can often come when we have a body. It's too hot, it's too cold, the cushion's too hard, too soft, it's many things. And of course, when we have this tranquility in the mind, passaddhi, they call it, the Buddha called it, it leads to stillness or one-pointedness. I quite like that too, of the mind coming together. Because when the mind comes together, it is not moving. Stillness is a nice word for it, because it's not going anywhere, it's just in one place. And of course, the whole point of arousing samadhi is to develop insight. And the reason that we need samadhi for insight is that when the mind comes together, the hindrances or the negative qualities in the mind are temporarily reduced and maybe disappear altogether. And if they disappear altogether, and we've let go of the 5 senses, then we can go into deep meditation, jhana. But the purpose of this is to purify the mind, so all those negative things are not there. All the liking and disliking is not there. Then we have the opportunity to really see things clearly. This is called vipassana. And a good example of this process is the story of Visakha. Have you heard of Visakha? She was the foremost female lay disciple of the Buddha. And she was a very wealthy and generous supporter of the Buddha. And I think it was on the first occasion she met the Buddha, she became a stream enterer. And on one occasion, Visakha, she lived in Savatthi, where the Buddha spent most of his time, his teaching career, in the Jetavana. That's where his main monastery. One day she asked him for 8 favours. And I think this is a classic scene. The Buddha said to Visakha, Buddhas don't grant favours, Visakha. But then he asked, but what do you want to ask for? What do you want to request? And she asked for 8 things, and these are things to do with caring, actually. She asked to be able to give cloths for bathing for the monks and the nuns, because often they were naked, and she thought that wasn't good. And to offer food when monks first arrived and when they left. was another thing. To offer food for sick monks and those who are looking after them, so the monk who was nursing them. And to offer medicine to sick monks, and to offer a regular supply of rice gruel. Doesn't sound very appetizing, does it? They call it konjac, or in Malaysia, I think konjac. And porridge, all right, porridge, there we are, porridge. In Sri Lanka they call it kanda, lunu kanda usually. And so the Buddha, he didn't dismiss this request. He asked her, why do you want to ask for these 8 favours? So she listed the practical benefits of it for the Sangha. And obviously it's caring, isn't it? Really caring for those monks who have just arrived and can't find food, who are sick, who need food, and so on. And having described what the benefit was for others, the Buddha said to her, well, Visakha, what's the benefit for you? The anisangsa. And she replied that when she hears that a monk has passed away and that he's attained a stage of enlightenment, she will know she'll ask, if that monk came to Savatthi, I will know that he has had one of the offerings, one of the 8 gifts that I'm requesting. And then she said, and this is the memorable thing, she says, and when I remember it, that I have made this offering to one of these monks who's become awakened, I shall be glad. When I am glad, I shall be joyful. When my mind is joyful, my body will be tranquil. When my body is tranquil, I shall feel happiness. When I feel happiness, my mind will become unified or still. That will bring the development of the spiritual faculties in me. And these are the spiritual faculties. Do you know the spiritual faculties? It's often called faith or confidence. And it leads, whatever we have faith or confidence in, we can get energy for, like our hobbies. Anything we are very interested in, we have faith in. We get energy, then we can develop mindfulness, sati, and we can develop stillness or one-pointedness, samadhi, and from there, wisdom. These are the 5 spiritual faculties. So she says this process leading up to the mind becoming still will allow her to develop these 5 spiritual faculties. And, she said, and also the spiritual powers, the development of the spiritual powers, which are the same faculties, but to a much more higher level. And not only that, she says, and the factors of enlightenment or awakening. So this is a whole path, really. And they are mindfulness, investigation of mind states, Dhammavicaya, energy, joy, tranquility, stillness, equanimity. And you notice with those 7 factors of awakening, they're really the process of meditation, actually. But they're at a level, especially when they are heading towards enlightenment, at a very deep level. And she says, this, Lord, is the benefit I foresee for myself in asking these 8 favours of the perfect one. And then the Buddha says, good, Visakha. The enlightened one replied, it is good that you have asked the perfect one for these 8 favours. Foreseeing these benefits, I grant you these 8 favours. So this is a very good example of these, how we can use these positive emotions, we can arouse them to give the mind, start this process, almost automatic process that brings from gladness, joy, and then this tranquility. And also then with tranquility, an aspect of tranquility, important one actually, is happiness, sukha, and then samadhi. Because the Buddha often said that the cause for samadhi is happiness, inner happiness, not the happiness of enjoying a good video or a good movie or a good meal, whatever. This is inner happiness, this inner joy. So this gives you an idea, this story gives you an idea of the value of developing these positive emotions at the beginning of the meditation and using them. So now, we've had enough talking, about time. We can start the guided meditation on caring, this theme of caring. So, first we can find a comfortable position. We're all pretty much sitting, I think, already in our position, but just to check out how it is and check out how the body is. Is it feeling comfortable, stable? Is it feeling balanced? And we can close our eyes and just get in touch with the body, feeling if the head is nicely positioned over the shoulders, balanced, and the shoulders positioned over the hips, and we feel a good sense of alignment, balance. And we can just welcome the present moment, come into the present moment. Just being here, now. These are the coordinates of meditation, really. Here and now. Letting go of what's happened in our lives. Letting go of getting here, maybe rushing. And letting go of the future. Who knows what it will be? And we can bring to mind the intention for this meditation. And the intention is to care. To bring up this feeling of caring. And we can do this by recalling someone or something that has brought up this feeling for us of caring. We all know, we all have had experiences of being cared for or caring for someone. And we can get in contact with that feeling. And we can immerse the body and mind with this feeling, fill the body and mind with this feeling, so that it colours the quality of the mind. This caring, feeling of caring, gentleness, valuing. And we can bring this feeling of caring to the body, caring for the body. Looking after it like a child or a baby. soothing it, starting from the top of the head, moving down the face, relaxing it, around the eyes, around the mouth. This warmth of caring. And moving to the neck, all around the neck, with this feeling of caring, kindness. And moving to the right shoulder, our attention to the right shoulder. Relaxing it, soothing it, caring. And bringing to mind the right arm and moving down the right arm to include the elbow, wrist, hand and fingers, like we're giving the right arm a mental massage. Now we can bring to mind the left shoulder, starting at the neck and moving along the left shoulder, relaxing it, soothing it, caring for the left shoulder, giving attention to it, allowing it to relax, let go of any tension or burden that we often carry on the shoulders. And bringing to mind the left arm, slowly moving down the left arm to include the elbow, the wrist, hand and fingers, with this warm, relaxing attention. And bringing to mind the back, starting below the shoulders and moving our attention down the back, relaxing, soothing any painful or tense areas, giving this feeling of kindness to our backs. Now bringing to mind the front of the body and starting just below the shoulders and moving our attention slowly down the chest, the diaphragm, the stomach and the abdomen area with this warm, caring, kind attention. Allowing any tense or tight areas to relax, soothing them. Now bringing to mind the right leg and moving our attention down the right leg to include the knee, ankle, foot and toes with this warm, relaxing, caring attention. Soothing the right leg. Now bringing to mind the left leg, starting at the top of the left leg and moving our attention down the left leg to include the knee, ankle, foot and toes, giving it this mental massage as we move down the left leg. Now bringing to mind the whole body, just sitting here now, bathed in this feeling of caring. And having this feeling of caring for whatever we experience in the body in the present moment. Not trying to get rid of things. That's not kind, that's not caring. And not trying to get anything. That's also not kind and caring. Accepting whatever we're experiencing with caring and kindness. Whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, or just neutral. We care for it. And when the breath comes to our attention, we give it this gift of care, like it's the most precious thing we have, which is in fact the case. Give it the gift of caring, breathing in care and breathing out care to the world. Breathing in this care, filling ourselves, and breathing it out to the world. And if the mind wanders off, wanders away from the breath, we bring it back with caring, like a parent looking after a child, with patience, kindness and caring, not scolding it, looking after it. And now, as we're coming close to the end of the meditation, we can share or radiate this feeling of caring to all those, to everyone that's here and everyone that's watching this online or participating online. Offering them this gift of caring. And we can share this feeling of caring with everyone, all beings that are around this area, wherever we are, whether they be animals, insects, maybe seen or unseen beings, human beings, any being. Giving them the gift of caring, this well-wishing for them, for their safety, for their happiness, their well-being. And we can expand it further and further to cover the whole world and all realms of existence. And now we can come back to ourselves, just to reflect on the meditation for a short time. How do I feel now? Did I experience this feeling of caring or not? And what was the cause for this feeling to arise? And we can have the aspiration or intention to develop caring deeply for ourselves and for others, and to use it as much as possible in our lives. This feeling of caring, of valuing. Now I'll ring the bell 3 times, and on the 3rd time we can come out of meditation. Slowly we can open the eyes slowly and move the body to make it more comfortable. Oh, there we are. I always wonder when these people, if they're doing the meditation or they're writing questions. First of all, are there any questions from the floor, we say? Sounds like Parliament, doesn't it? Any questions? Oh, that's wonderful. That's good. I always feel the meditation's really worked if there are no questions. If there are lots of questions, I think, wow, that was probably a pretty bumpy meditation for a person. But that's a good sign. That is a very, very good sign. We have enough thinking in our lives as it is. So taking a bit of time out doesn't hurt. So if there are some questions from online. That's it. Thank you very much. That's lovely. And this is from Singapore, from Yongji Yang Ong. Bhante, what was the greatest teachings you learnt from the late Ayya Khema? What was the greatest teaching you learnt from the late Ayya Khema? Do people know who Ayya Khema was? Famous Buddhist nun, a German Buddhist nun. Fantastic life, very interesting, colourful life. Because she was born as a German Jew in Adolf Hitler's Germany. Her parents were very, very wealthy, but she managed to escape on the last train out of Germany to the UK, and her parents managed to escape to China. But later, and she had a very interesting life, and she came to Australia. So she lived in Australia many, many years. And I always loved the way Ayya Khema would speak. It had this wonderful mishmash of accents. There was a bit of the German there, a bit of the Aussie. There was this sort of posh English accent, some of the German, everything. You know, it was really quite a rich way she had of speaking. So, and one of the teachings, probably the most important teaching that Ayya Khema was a great teacher. She was so clear, actually, and emphasised the jhanas, deep meditation, and obviously experienced them herself. She was a good example of it. And one of the things that she taught that I think for me was such an important teaching was her teaching on metta, loving kindness. And she needed it. I often called Ayya Khema the queen of metta, queen of metta. She was quite a tough character, and obviously she had many things to contend with in her life. And so she needed, I felt, this sort of metta, this softness, and she was very good at it. She did these guided meditations, which really influenced the way I practice. And she always said, before every meditation, do a little bit of metta at the beginning, or the whole meditation, no problem doing the whole meditation on metta, because when we do the metta meditation, loving kindness, it overcomes all the negative qualities in the mind, the 5 hindrances. So whatever meditation we do after it is going to be improved or go deeper, be more peaceful, for having got the 5 hindrances having been reduced by that metta. So that would be the greatest teaching that I got for me, and it helped my meditation enormously, actually. And not only that, when we develop, for instance, caring metta, like we're doing caring today, it's useful for the meditation, but it's very useful for our lives, because the more we develop, repeat, encourage these states of mind in meditation, it's like reconditioning our minds. It tends to become the habit, the setting for our minds in daily life. So this is, something that I found in my life. Using metta practice a lot, it actually encourages it in my daily life, and then in action and speech. Because the Buddha says that there are three aspects to metta. It's not just on the cushion. It's what we do and say too. If we come off the cushion after a good metta meditation and we say something nasty to somebody or do something nasty, obviously that wasn't really metta, or it wasn't reaching a deep place. So metta meditation, developing metta, is not only the cushion, it's what we do and say. And do and say usually comes from the mind. So this is the reconditioning. So I always have a lot of thanks for Ayya Khema and her teachings. So fantastic. So that was the greatest teaching for me. And this one's from, next question from Everline. Bhante, what is the best or easiest way to meditate for lay people? Thanks. Well, this is, I think, for everybody, the way I was emphasising today, as I use in my own practice, is this developing of a positive, wholesome emotion to really lift the mind and give that to the meditation object. So it makes it so attractive, much more attractive to stay with. People often say, with the breath, well, it's so boring. It just comes in and out. But it is actually very precious for us. Without it, we'll soon know the body won't be here actually very shortly if we don't have the breath. So it is very precious in reality. So we have to do a bit of interior decoration. People like interior decoration. Part of that interior decoration is bringing this positive feeling to the breath. It is a wonderful object because it can be coloured by any emotion we wish to use. Very often, people in their lives, without realising it, they're actually conditioning, encouraging, repeating negative emotions, getting angry, getting irritated, getting annoyed with people, getting depressed, getting anxious, getting afraid, all these things, by repeating it, using the same phrases in the mind, same thoughts, etching it deeply into the mind. And our job as meditators, as practitioners of the Dhamma, is to actually change that conditioning. It doesn't happen overnight. So we gradually change that conditioning. One of Ayya Khema's very good teachings was that, whatever we repeat again and again, positive or negative, is like a vehicle going over muddy ground. It's getting deeper and deeper in the mud. If it's positive, no problem. But if it's negative, wow, we're really getting stuck in it. And we see that. So the easiest and the best meditation, I would say, is that which we enjoy. And that's why I emphasise these positive emotions. It brings enjoyment to it. It makes it like our hobby, actually, something we want to do. We don't have to think, oh, what a chore, I have to do my meditation. It's 7 o'clock, I've got to, there's something good on TV, I think I'd rather watch the news or whatever. So it's something we really enjoy. So that is our job, is really to make the meditation interesting. And this is one way of doing it. So I hope that helps you, yeah. And this is Alexandra from Romania, really. I think they're having a terrible time with COVID, I think, in Romania. My problem is I care too much and can't stop trying to cure and change things. Do you have any advice? Thank you. Yes. I care too much and I can't stop trying to cure. Maybe Alexandra is a doctor or a nurse. It could be that. She obviously knows the Ajahn Brahm's teaching, where he says, our job is to care, not to cure. We're saying this to doctors because he had a doctor that came here many years ago that was actually, I think he'd grown up as a child, had come to the Buddhist Society, and then when he started, he'd finished his degree and everything, and he went to practice. And I think, very early on he had his first patient die, and it really threw him into despair. And that's when he came to see Ajahn Brahm. He was very upset, thinking, well, maybe medicine's not for me, being a doctor. And Ajahn Nissarano said to him, your job is not to cure, it's to care. And that was very helpful for him. So I think Alexandra knows that one. But when we care for people, it's not from a sense of controlling them. Maybe we want all the best for them, and we may think we know better for them, and we may actually know better for them, actually, what's in their best interest. But in the end, we have to respect the person and the way they see the world. And that is an important aspect of caring, that we respect the person. Another important aspect is that we have this khanti, this patience, which is like loving kindness that can, it's got a quality of loving kindness in it, patience, that we can bear with, the difficulties of perhaps caring for a person. Because caring for someone, as people who have done that, a sick person, caring for somebody with Alzheimer's must be incredibly tough. Because this person is really, off the planet, as it were. And some of them, very negative states of mind that they experience. I always say to people, if we develop the positive emotions before we get Alzheimer's, maybe that's what will come up, not the negative. But unfortunately, many people, as I've said, have spent their whole lives developing negative ones, thinking, they're totally right to be angry with the government, this person, that person, life, whatever it is. They feel that they're right, and therefore that anger and maybe turns into rage, and they develop that. So I think this is caring too much, and I can't stop caring, trying to cure and change things. All you can do with caring, of course, is offer it. And if the other person accepts it, wants it, if it's useful, that's great. If it's not, just to let it be. We can't cure them. So I hope that helps Alexandra from Romania. Yeah. And another one, I think this person asked last night, actually, Yui. How to keep caring to be positive. When I care for somebody, I am concerned about their well-being and stressed out about their struggles. There we are. I think this is probably similar to Alexandra's question, isn't it? So caring, how to keep caring to be positive, right? And again, that very much relates to being, I'm concerned about their well-being and stressed out about their struggles. Again, that is having this respect that the other person, they will see things in their own way, and we offer what we can as a gift, caring, but their lives are their lives. Their karma is their karma, the qualities they've developed, they will play out. And even though, as I said before, we may feel we know better for them, we can't live their lives. The other people have to live their lives. And if we develop a sort of anxiety or feel stressed about their well-being, is that being caring for ourselves? Not really. Because this is an important aspect of caring, is caring for ourselves as well. Yes, there we are. Oh. So I think that's what I can offer about that at the moment, actually. Good. So I think that's it actually. So that's for Huey. I hope that was sort of helpful for you. There we are. And so we can finish off now. And I'll just anyone who would like to share the merit. I heard just after lunch today, someone I know has passed away. So I was going to share the merit with them. This is something we do in Buddhism. Whenever we do anything good, wholesome, we like offering something to the monks, nuns, helping another person. Anything we do that's good, wholesome, we can, as it were, share that with the person who's passed away. And maybe they need it, maybe they don't need it. So I'll do the verses of sharing the merit, which means this is for my relatives. May my relatives be happy. It's a traditional chant that we use in Sri Lanka, and so I don't think they use it much in Thailand too. I may also do the call on the devas too at the beginning. Etavata cha amhehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya etavata cha amhehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya etavata cha amhehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. May you abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may you maintain well-being in yourself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So that's for David Henderson, who just passed away last week, I heard. But and for your relatives too that have passed away. And when we do that, we can often think of it as giving a gift to them. They don't need anything material. But if we can remember them and do things, good things, wholesome things, in their name, that is something that's useful, or may be useful for them. So now, for those who would like to, we can pay respects to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha to finish off. Oh. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Adivati Swagato Bhagavata Namo Dhammang Namasam Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. There we are, that's good. Yeah, so. Great. So, thank you for coming, and that was good. Nice to share the meditation together. Good, good. Hello, Jeff. All right.